How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be reviewing the GVM G100W. The coolest things that I found about this light right off the bat is because this is a bicolor light, plus it has a Bowens mount, which means you can pretty much mount anything out of this light here. Bicolor lights are so important to me because most of the times, a lot of applications, I'm dealing with tungsten. I want to match everything, and this is a beautiful thing, again, because it has a Bowens mount. I mean, these panels here, they're great. I use them primarily for, spots or accents or something like that. But for the key light, because this light is a COB chip plus it has a Bowens mount, this light to me is definitely a winner. First, because of the price. Like I said before, you can find other bicolors such as the Aperture 300 series. They also offer bicolor, but the price, it's like miles away from this light. Another thing that I want to mention here is the brightness control, because a bell bulb, if you ever need to do something like this close to this light, I'm not blowing up, so this can be very gentle all the way to like super bright. To mount a Bowens reflector here, mounts very easily. To release, you just take it out like this. And they also made a better reflector compared to the old ones. As you can see, has a similar design to the Aperture series. It's not quite the same, but at least they are trying to make the thing better, rather than have that plain flat like silver looking thing. So they have like a bunch of little squares here in the on the reflector. So on the back of the panel here is pretty simplistic. Simplicity to me means speed, because there's nothing really crazy to fumble around, so you get the job done real quick when you have to. So the left knob here, it controls the light color temperature from 3200 degrees Kelvin all the way up to 5600 degrees Kelvin. And on the right side is your light intensity that ranges from 10% all the way to 100%. And as you can see in the background there, I'm shining daylight over there, and you see it doesn't really match much. So this is always a problem. So I really love the fact that this light has a bicolor. This is the primary reason why I wanted this light. And also the fact that, again, you can actually control so gently the 10%. I mean, you can barely see the reflector shining anything here. So I absolutely love these two features. The bicolor alone kills everything in the market. It's because of the price of this light. And just a quick disclaimer here, like any other light that I have received for free to test it out, some lights I purchased with my own money, but this one here, GVM actually sent it for free for me to test it out and everything. But I'm not paid to say anything. They don't have any control whatsoever with what I'm gonna say, how I feel about the light. As a matter of fact, after I read the specifications here, because they ask, would you like to review this light? If I think it sucks, I'm not going to waste my time setting up all these lights here, because it's a lot of work, right? And I'm not going to waste your time either. So my channel has a reputation to follow. So everything that I review here, for free or not, is my honest opinion. So again, with the advantage of the bicolor, so if this light was only a daylight balanced light, as you can see, it's not going to be helping much on the background, since everything there is tungsten. So you just turn the knob here until it matches the color they want. If it is too warm, you kind of cool it down a little bit by turning it to, like, I don't know, 4000 degrees or 37, whatever your taste is. But as you can see, now you match everything. And over here now, my face is yellow. All you gotta do is change back to the daylight, and everything is beautiful. So bicolor to me is absolutely a must, especially in a wedding. If you happen to take this light over there, sometimes the bride is in the middle of the room, surrounded by tungsten light. The room is dark, the curtain is closed for some reason, and then you just quickly go here down the 3200 or whatever. Once you go near the window, when the photographer takes you to the window, there you go, you just blast the 5600 degrees Kelvin or something between. If you have daylight coming here, and then a strong source of tungsten light there, so this light here, you can pretty much do whatever you need to do with this light. And on the center here is your channels that varies from 01 all the way to channel 11. And on this here, you have your master and slave mode. And by the way, this light can be controlled by the GVM Easily app, which I have another tutorial on my channel regarding the previous GVM lights that I reviewed. I have a complete tutorial. Even if you have a VPN, which can actually cause a little complication, because the VPN is not gonna let you connect to anything that you don't tell the VPN to allow. It's just almost like a firewall. So if you don't have a VPN, it's pretty much power this light on, go to your mobile device, go to settings, the Wi-Fi, you're gonna see the GVM name of the light there, and it magically connects. The RGB needs a little bit of work on the application, on the GVM Easily app, but every light non-RGB that I try to connect to the GVM Easily app, it's flawless. It just connects and it stays connected. The RGB sometimes they go a little wacky. So with these lights over here, you're not gonna have any problem whatsoever on the GVM app, because they're very solid and reliable, at least on the bicolor. And over here is the power switch. which is the off position, and then here it represents nothing. I guess GVM might have a plan in the future to release a similar light, or maybe this light as a Mark II, to develop a battery mode, either with the Sony thing on the top here, or a proprietary GVM battery, who knows, or even access to a V-mount, or whatever they want to do. But it seems to me that they just happen to be using the same exact switch found in these lights here over here. I don't know if that's to save money, or again, if they plan to release a Mark II series of this G100W for a battery mount, who knows. So if you press all the way down here, nothing happened. That's supposed to be, I guess, a battery mode. And on the center, that's when the light is powered off. And on the top here, that's when you actually turn the light on. And speaking of fan noise, I'm having the GVM P80S right here. And I've got Doc's S30 shining that cool stuff in the background there. So they do have fans. I'm gonna actually turn off this light completely. And there you go. And I actually like the dimming thing here. Let's see what just happened here. That's pretty cool. I didn't notice that. Okay, cool. So this is the fan noise that you hear. I'm using a Rode NTG4. My microphone is actually as close as possible to my mouth off frame. As you can see, you can hear the microphone right here. So the microphone is pointing directly at me. This light, I can actually touch the light as well. And that light is about 6 feet away from me. So this is the fan noise in the room that you hear right now. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a silence here. So now I'm going to be turning off all the lights here for a second. So now we are in complete silence. Let's power the GVM G100W. And right now I am at 10%, 20%. The fan is just like starting to rotate a tiny little bit. Just so you know, as you up the intensity of the light, this light actually one of the rare lights that actually up the RPM as you turn up the intensity. So the microphone is actually pretty much pointing at this light, so you're not going to be having this light this close to a subject anyway. So right now it's pretty manageable. So now I'm going to be jumping to 50%. 60, 70, 80, 90, and finally 100. So at 100%, at, I don't know, 9 inches from my face, this is what you hear with the microphone pointing literally right at this unit here. So in this case here, a one-person interview kind of thing. Usually the key light is about 4.5 feet, which is the same exact case that I have here. So to use this light here, if fan is a concern to you on a super quiet room, so you can perfectly record or use this with this light here up to 45% or lower, especially that most cameras today, the ISO on the sensor is native of 850, so even though it's a lot higher than 100, so if you're shooting anything at ISO 850, for example the C100 Mark II camera, you're actually shooting, just think of the number 0, you know, it can go way lower or higher, but 850, so this light is plenty of brightness at 45% at a scenario like this here, especially that most cinematographers today, they love shooting with the aperture 1.2 or 1.4. If you let them, they're probably gonna shoot with f.1 if they made such lens. So on that perspective, whatever modifier they want to attach in front here, the 42, 45% and lower will be no problem, I would say. So here's one very cool feature about this light I absolutely love is the color temperature from 3200 to 5600. What I'm trying to say is here, most bicolor lights that I've seen, as soon as you change to the middle at 4200 degrees Kelvin, you will notice that all the LEDs are going to come on, making the light twice as bright, so it's going to change the exposure, and then you have to adjust the camera and everything. So this particular light here, check this out. Let me see here, for example, at 30% there should be okay, because I want it pretty on the background, I don't want to wash anything out. So right now the light is at 5600 degrees Kelvin, and at 3200 you notice that it wants to dim and compensate or adjust for the tungsten. So all the way down from 3200 to 56, the exposure pretty much remains the same by 97%. So even if you up the brightness here, as you can see, it still remains in the same exposure. It's not gonna do like super bright and then go here, and then when you are at 32 or 4200, it's not going to happen like this. So it's pretty much linear. So I absolutely love this thing here. Now, another very important subject: how accurate is this light? Because I don't have a Sekonic 800 color spectrometer, but I actually had a photographer friend of mine that he actually has this thing there. So I actually just took notes to what the spectrometer read about this light here. So at the daylight, it's pretty much spot on, and also tungsten. So what I have in my notes here, this light at 5600 degrees Kelvin is reading 5671 degrees Kelvin. And at the tungsten is reading 3320 degrees Kelvin when you dialed all the way down to 3200 degrees Kelvin, which is pretty impressive. And on the tungsten side is a tiny little bit on the magenta side, which is 1.9 correction. And the CRI and the TLCI, he advertises that it's about 97 at the B&H, and according to the notes that I made here, measuring this light with the color spectrometer, the TLCI on tungsten is reading 99, and the TLCI on daylight is 99. So as far as skin tones in color accuracy, either on the tungsten or the daylight, especially the daylight, you're not going to have any problem whatsoever with this light. I'm going to give you a quick demonstration here using the GVM Easily app. So you go to your settings and Wi-Fi. This is my current network here. And then you have the GVM ID. You click over there, wait a few seconds. And connected. Then you launch the app, and then immediately it's connected. I didn't even touch the light or anything like that. So here's your light intensity here, all the way to 100%. Daylight, tungsten. You can actually dim the light. You can actually turn it off, turn it back on. Even makes a little noise here. And the channels here, they don't impact anything at all, so you don't have to worry about that. You can also change the ID of the light, which I did, and also the password. So just keep in mind that if you do that, you're gonna get kicked out of the Wi-Fi, so you're gonna have to start all over again. So when you buy this light here with the default GVM_LED, I think that's the ID of the light, and the password is GVM_admin. And with this password's default like that, the light is going to pretty much connect immediately. So if you want to change the password here, all you got to do is click on Modify Wi-Fi. Not only enables you to change the password, but also the user ID, which I always do because I have so many GVM lights. Because when I connect those things to the Wi-Fi, there's a list, the 50RS, the P80S, or whatever, so I can actually know what light I'm connecting to here. So I always modify. So after you're done here, you're gonna be kicked out of the Wi-Fi, so you have to go to your settings again and make sure you refresh. So that's the new ID appearing on your network, and then you connect everything and everything will connect. I like VPNs and I like the thing on all the time. So if you do have a VPN, so it's gonna be impossible to connect to this app or any other app that requires a network kind of connection. So you gotta let the VPN know that you're trying to connect to this network. So all you gotta do is go to the VPN settings and then allow this connection. Otherwise, this app is gonna be trying to connect forever. So if you don't have a VPN, this problem is not going to apply for you. So if you're interested in purchasing this light, at least on B&H, they give you at least two options. You can actually buy the light itself, which comes with the reflector, the light itself, the power cord, and also the case. And this is actually a kit that GVM sent me here. So it comes again with the reflector, the light itself, the power cord, and also this very cool and compact stand. By the way, it fits like in most bags. Instead of being a very tall thing, it's pretty much compact, almost like the size of my arm. That's pretty much it. And also this lantern shape modifier here comes also with the case. This is the case that GVM makes with this case here. So if you buy the kit, the box that comes with this thing is huge. So in a huge box, you're gonna find everything very well packed and everything is isolated. So the light is in this case here, which is one of the things that I love about GVM, is because they always include a carrying case. This is nothing special to look at, but it actually will protect your gear from most situations. And it's a simple case, but it's better than no case at all. And also the fact that they pack everything isolated in there. So they pack the stand, it comes with its own box. This light comes in this box over here separate. And here's inside the case, it comes with a divider, which you can actually put your reflector here. You can actually put it this way or this way. I recommend that you put upside down because the reflector is going to be sitting all the way on the bottom. So to put everything back in the box here, I am actually a very neat guy. So I put the light here, and then between the power cord and the light, I actually put this little piece of foam here, so in between the light, so the cord, especially the prong parts, right, the end of the cords, they're not gonna have any possibility of scratching the light. And this modifier here comes with a bag, and it's extremely easy to set up. All you have to do is to make sure this is in the center here, and then when you press it down, make sure you're actually pulling the actual fabric up, so when this thing starts to bulge, the thing is actually taking shape here. So this is so easy to mount that I'm not even gonna get up my chair, my seat here. You can actually see, it can actually take shape. You know, as long as you initially put this up here, it's pretty much ready to go. So all I gotta do is go on the floor. There's a little hook there that you actually mount this, and when you collapse, and the box is like this, and then you put it back in the bag. So if you've never seen one of these before, this is what it looks like. It's actually very attractive, very pretty, and also you can actually rotate the ring and also lock it. There's a button here that you can actually tighten it, and it's not gonna rotate. And to collapse this, again, there's a hook in the center there. I don't know if you can see right there. I recommend it you be on the floor for this, but you actually can unhook that thing. This is how easy to do. I'm actually seated and being able to do this here. And here's the stand. I like the fact that it's made this reverse design kind of thing, which allows the stand to be as compact as this, no longer than my arm. So pretty much any duffel bag, whatever you've got, this thing is gonna fit. So to open the stand here, you simply loosen this part here and let gravity do the work. This is pretty much effortless. Look how you open the stand. There's no fighting with the thing, and look how wide this thing is. Look how much real estate and stability this stand can provide. Of course, you can actually do a normal mode like this, right? What you don't want to do is to have this stand this way, because it's asking for trouble, it's asking to be collapsed, right? Unless you absolutely have to set this up in a corner somewhere. As long as you know what you're doing, you should be safe. As long as nobody touches it, there's no kids or pets around, you should be okay. But I won't recommend this. It's either this, or preferably, if you have the space, do it like this. Don't open too wide, because you're gonna be hitting the floor here, and this is gonna, you know, gonna be all like dancing all over the place. Just use common sense. This is as wide as it can get, which is pretty cool. And to collapse, you just use these two fingers here. This thing actually is the opposite. Sorry, I forgot this is a. Anyway, to close the stand here, you just lift it up. This thing pretty much closes on its own. So to open it up, it's like this, and to close it down, it's like that. It's that simple. No fighting with the stand. Now the knobs here, they're okay. The plastic and everything, I would use caution not to over tighten, because you can actually break. I actually broke one of the stands, unfortunately. I think it was one of them that was slightly defective, but they don't break as easy. But just take it easy, and it should last you a long time. So the stand here, when you fully open like this here, and as you can see, it's not as tall. I'm about 5'8", and my nose is over here, so this is not the tallest stands. But another thing that I don't recommend you to do for every stand, not including this one here, so every time you use a section of the pole here, when you feel it's fully extended, always drop it down an inch, because you don't want this to wobble. So you drop down an inch, and then it's a lot sturdier. It's not doing that. Same thing with this here. So don't maximize it, just drop an inch inside, and then this stand will be very stable. So let's talk about the stuff that I don't like about this light, which I immediately replaced before even I made this review here. Let's talk about the lever that comes with this light. The GVM P80S comes with the same exact thing, which I don't like at all. Because this type of ratchet systems here, if this is in the way, you can actually easily pull it out and adjust it to any position that you want. This one here, you can't do that. You can only turn, but you cannot pull. This is probably going to be in a way, or in the way of something here. What we have to take into account is that most of these ratchet knobs here, they are universal, pretty much the same thread. I don't know if this is an M6 or M whatever in metric, but mirror, photo flex, most of them, they are this thick of a thread here. So this one I got a B&H for under $7. and this is actually, I think, American made. I was at Home Depot looking for a thread because it doesn't come with a thread, it just comes with this, but it's only $7. I was at the metric drawer there because, you know, GVM is a Chinese company, and I forgot this is a US made, and it happens to be quarter 20, which is pretty cool. But keep in mind also that you're supposed to have this square thing. So this has the same thing, but the hole is slightly bigger, but it works as well. So you're not gonna have any problem with that. So when you replace this thing here, keep in mind that the threads are bigger, right? But it's gonna also catch and lock on the little square thing that they have here. So it's gonna work perfectly. I can actually demonstrate to you right now that the screw is not gonna spin. As you can see, it just spins a little bit, but they lock it, even though this is a thinner thread. So it's perfect. So I actually aim the light this way, tighten it down. I can actually pull it off and adjust to any position that you want. As you can hear, this thing comes with a little teeth here. So it's not too bad because there's a lot of little teeth, so you can actually still aim the light precisely as if it was like a flat, toothless kind of thing, because it can actually go as low as like 1 little millimeter like this. The Godox SL60W is like this much, and then this much, this much. This one here you can actually fine tune it like this, so I don't see a problem. But keep in mind, another thing that I don't like is because this is very plasticky. In my opinion, this should be never made of plastic, because all I see here is a little plastic thing here with another metal thread. So I would not screw this too crazy, because you might snap this thing in half. In my opinion, this whole thing should be metal. Plastic here is still, I guess, okay. It would be nice to make the whole thing metal and charge us another $45, I guess. I'll pay extra for that. If you mount a modifier here, the one that comes with the skid, for example, or any softbox like this here, about, I think, like 30-some inches, you will not have a problem with the slide. Just don't attempt to mount any parabolic, like 50-some inch, because it's very heavy for this, and I'll feel a little uncomfortable to have this much pressure and stress on something that's entirely made of plastic. I was trying to modify this with using the Godox SL60W, which is also made of plastic, but is infinity times more durable than this, because the 60W, they have a metal thing inside here, and this thing here is all plastic here. The only thing metal is the actual thread and a little gold little metal thread in between, but that's pretty much it as far as the yoke thing goes here. So to summarize, the only negative thing that I see with this light is this thing that I really don't like, and also the fact that this whole thing here is made of plastic. Other than that, for the price the light cost, you cannot complain about anything whatsoever. The light is actually already very accurate, bright enough for most cases, and again, you have this super soft and gentle thing here. You can actually put your cheek this close and still not blown up. This is fantastic. So the 10% is acting like 1%, and everything is easy to control here. So as far as I can tell, there's nothing else to complain. As far as the plastic handle here, most lights they are made of plastic. I don't see this breaking anytime soon. I also don't see this breaking if you are respectful of the equipment. Don't try to abuse of it. It will not break this, because I've been using this for at least 6-7 times so far. This particular lantern modifier that comes with this as a kit is about 26 inches in diameter, and it comes with a metal Bowens mount ring and also some other components here that adds a fair amount of weight on this thing here. So with this particular light here, keeping in mind that everything is rather plasticky here on the yoke and the whole mount here. So when you actually put this up or down, make sure you tighten it well, but you don't need to over tighten, because you have the teeth to kind of secure in its place. As you can see, it's not really going down. It can go down a tooth or two, but it's not going to collapse. So when you put it down like this, which also adds stress, the thing wants to fall like this, right? So the least stressful position for this light, of course, is about here, because the center of gravity is going to be right here. So if you need to tilt this down, especially when you're putting a softbox, right, octagon or square, just to give it a nice tightening here, but don't need to do anything crazy. This is going to stay here. What I don't recommend you to do is to put anything larger than 35 inches here, because this is going to be a little too much for this mount, unless you actually manage a way to hack the thing to find another metal thing that goes where there's 4 screws that attaches the yoke to the whatever this is called here, to this light here, and then there you go. But the way it is here, just keep in mind, don't exceed anything 35 inches and lower. I don't know, I just don't find it common sense to put an enormous parabolic umbrella on a light of this power here. It just doesn't make sense. I usually put this big modifiers on a 300-watt light because it's so deep and everything. And if you want to shoot something bigger, you need a bigger light source with more power to punch through the light through all those things that those parabolic umbrellas have. So again, keep everything small here and it should be good to go. It's just plenty of light and size here. I love the fact that this thing is a COB chip plus a bonus mount, and I can just dial the color temperature here, either eyeballing or with a meter or whatever, but I have that capability in one light for under 300 bucks. What's not to love? Except the little fan problem here that, you know, but it is what it is. Still love it. Just keep it at under 40%, you're good to go. So when you're doing an interview, usually the front of the light is what stays here, right? You're not going to be on the fan like this, right? So right now the light is at 40%, and this is the actual softbox here pointing at me, very close, right? Usually it's like a lot further than this. So this is the fan noise that you're going to hear at this situation. And again, the microphone is right here, right at this thing. So this is what you probably want to interview somebody from, like this type of distance. And this is the fan noise at that particular location right there. That light is actually about 5.5 feet away. The microphone is pointing at me. This is a Rode NTG4 Plus shotgun microphone. The pattern is rather, I think it's like 25 degrees or whatever, but it's pretty directional. Now let me put this light at 100%. So as you can hear, this is a little bit loud, even with the light at that distance right there. So you don't want to do this at 100% for any interviews, at least in my opinion, unless you're shooting B-roll or some other stuff, or in a loud room, a wedding or basketball or whatever, a lot of action going on. You can certainly use or interview somebody with this light at 100%. I don't think the fan is gonna matter with a bunch of people whistling and basketball balls sound all over the place. That shouldn't be a problem. Just on a very quiet room that you're gonna have this dilemma here. That's 40%. So the subject here is speaking and everything, even if it's a quiet one, speaking like this softly. I don't think the fan is a problem at the distance there. But if you must edit out that noise, which I don't think is a big deal at all, there's software that removes that. I actually never needed to use software to remove audio from anything because the fan is never a problem, even when there's a quiet time. I don't think this light is going to cause any issues at that power. And again, this is at 40%. I'm shooting with the Canon 1DX Mark II with the 24-105 f4 L series lens, which is a pretty dark lens. And this is the exposure that I'm getting, which is plenty. So here's the light at arm's reach distance. So I'm using a Sekonic Flashmaster L358 light meter. The light again is set to 40% at this particular distance over here. So I'm at ISO 800 at 30 frames per second. I'm blocking this light here. I'm just going to measure this light here roughly. So we have f4.5 for f4.5 at ISO 800. So if you want to shoot this at f2.8, all you gotta do mathematically, just drop it down to ISO 400. It should give you f2.8.5. Let's see here, just drop it down to ISO 400, yeah, f2.8.5. And then if you want to shoot f1.4, like most people love shooting at that apertures, probably ISO 80 or something like that. Let me see here. About f1.4.2 at ISO 80 with this light at 40% at this particular distance over here. So I think this is plenty of power for most modern cameras. But if you absolutely should blast this to 100%, as long as you don't mind a little bit of a fan here, it's good to go. But as far as I can tell, if I kill these other lights here, this light here is pretty silent at that particular power. Even at 50% it's okay, but you don't want to go anything higher than that, assuming quiet room is required. So that's the end of my review. All I'm trying to do here is to help you guys out in deciding what lighting gear to buy. And if lighting is your thing, please consider tuning in or subscribing, or at least liking the video, because all we do here is lighting. And again, thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you next time.